Hey, what's up guys? My name is Kyle and I build custom post frame buildings here on YouTube, and I share with you guys that whole process. You know, a couple weeks ago I did a video where I talked about the top 10 things that I think you should consider when building your own project, but we couldn't really get into price, and that seems to be a very hot topic. People want to know, but how much does the building cost, and how are they supposed to know what it costs? So I thought, you know what, let's go ahead and do a video. Let's break down one of my past projects, one that you guys can go watch. It was one of the most popular series here on YouTube, building a garage. It's back in 2018, and I think I chose this building because it's basic enough, it's simple enough, and I feel like it's the type of building that really, you know, fits a lot of molds. So it's the one building that I think I could see a lot of people, you know, A, tackling themselves, B, having the room for, and C, you know, being able to afford. So what I figured we'd do is we would talk about how much it cost back then, how much I bid the job for, how much it's gonna cost today. So I think that in the last 3 years, we all know a lot has happened. Costs have been jacked up, but maybe you might be surprised from 2018 to the end of 2021 where pricing has gone. Let's go ahead and dive into the pricing of a post frame. All right, so the building that we're going to talk about, we did a build series on. Like I said, I'll go ahead and put that up here. You can take a look at it. It's a 30 by 40 garage, and the use of it ended up being more of like a storage, man cave, just overall space for this client to house his drag car that he had, work on it, and then just hang out, you know? So it was just a cool little space, 30 by 40, perfect size. So some of the other specs that I'll share with you guys, we've got 7 windows. They're all 4x3 sliders. We've got 1 walk door. It had half glass, crossbuck, insulated. You know, it's a really nice door. We had a garage door that was a 16 by 10. I did not install the garage door. That was subcontracted, and I didn't have anything to do with the pricing, so I don't know what that pricing was exactly, but I got some pricing here that we can talk about just to get you an idea what a 16 by 10 garage door costs. The building had a 1-foot overhang. We had gutters on both sides. We had insulation in the walls, which consisted of an R19 fiberglass bat. We had an R38 blown-in fiberglass in the ceiling. We had a wainscot around the entire perimeter, which also consisted of Versetta stone wainscot across the front. You know, it's only about 7 foot on each side of that 16-foot door. And on the inside, we had a 3/4 plywood wall up 8 foot. And then the other, I guess that'd be about 4 feet, was white liner panel steel, and then a white liner panel steel ceiling. Did we have white on that? You know what? I don't remember if it was white or if it was a colored steel, but regardless, it was a steel liner panel, and that kind of wraps up the specs. Now, the things that I don't have cost for is it did get a radiant heat in the floor. I did not do that. I don't know what that cost exactly. I did not do the electrical, and I did not do any of the excavation or site prep work. So what we're going to talk about is, I'm going to assume that you have a pad, you have something flat to build on, and then we're going to take it from there and get it to the point where your electrician, your plumber, I can give you some ideas on what the concrete's going to cost, but you know, mainly the plumber and electrician, I don't really know what they're going to cost. It's going to be whatever your contractor charges, which I don't do that work, so I can't give you an exact price. Let's go ahead and break down this. We're going to start at the beginning. I'll tell you kind of what we did, the price, the cost, and then what to expect today's price. So this building bid was $36,000. So this was in 2018, like I said, and that was my bid to the customer, and it covered all of those things. Okay, so what we're gonna do is start at the beginning of the build, which is, let's say, the post holes, the foundation, and then we're gonna work through kind of like I'm building it, and I'm gonna talk about what I paid for my materials. Now, the thing we're not gonna necessarily cover is what you should expect specifically for labor. My labor rate, my overhead rate, my machinery cost, you know, all those things that kind of encompass the total cost of the build, that is going to be different for whatever builder you go with. That is something that I can never give you an exact, but I'll give you mine on this build. All right, so we're gonna start at the foundation because that's kind of the first thing that we do when we build. So we're just gonna start at the beginning and work our way through this. Now, this customer opted for a concrete pier. You guys have probably seen us do the piers where we dig our hole, we do a full ready mix foundation pier built up with a sonotube at the top to form it up into a nice circle, and then we wet set our bracket into there. Now, back when I built this building, we were looking at about $75 per pier to get them installed. So that involves about $33, $34 in concrete, $36 in bracket, and at the time I had a cost of $1,264 for all of my footings. When I did the math today, that's $1,855. So between the cost of the brackets and the cost of concrete, we've gone up $600. Pretty sure that's close to 50%. A lot of that being the brackets. Price of steel across the board, it seems like, has doubled, and there's no getting around that. You really got to have a good bracket. Let's go one step further and talk about doing a full ready mix foundation footing wall, which is what we've been doing a lot lately because it gives you the best protection. You've got a full frost wall, capability, which sometimes people don't need that if you're down south. But more importantly, I think, is it gives you a little bit better footing. You've got a solid barrier between the inside and the outside. You have no wood touching the ground anywhere, no grade board, and rodents aren't going to be able to burrow underneath your floor if it's just a thickened slab. And in a cold climate, you get the ability to put a nice insulation board on the wall before you pour your floor on the inside. So there's definitely an advantage. The problem is it is more costly. So you're looking around $50 a foot on the perimeter. Now, if I were to do the math real quickly, let's say my client would have went with a full ready mix foundation. He would have been in at least $7,000 to put the wall in before I even showed up. I still have to buy the brackets and I still have to install them. He's probably going to be pushing closer to like the $8,000 mark by time we get our brackets installed, ready to stand our walls, the same as today's price of $1,850 to do the piers. So, that's $6,000 right there off the top that you don't have to spend if you go the route of the piers, but by all means, I think that the wall is superior. Now we're gonna go on to the post. When I bought my post 3 years ago, I spent $1,075. I buy Ohio Timberland post. These are 3-ply laminated columns. They have a center notch so that we can set our trusses inside, and we can add pole extensions for our end wall posts that have to go all the way up to the top of the truss. These are not cheap. You could make them cheaper yourself if you wanted to. You could probably buy a 6x6 post cheaper. We use a laminated column because I think they're straighter. They are definitely stronger. So I spent $1,075 on my post. That does include a $250 shipping cost. And today you'd be looking at close to $1,500, about $1,450. So once again, that's about a 40% increase in cost in those 3 years. Let's move on to trusses. My trusses are made by a manufacturer close to me called Atlas Truss. And when I bought these trusses, they were $1,552. Now these are my invoices. Obviously they're gonna include sales tax. Some of them would include like shipping. I'm pretty sure that the trusses, that includes the shipping costs because those get shipped direct. Today, those trusses would be about $2,100. So that's about a $500 or 30-some% increase in cost. $1,550. Now $2,100. Now let's talk about the lumber package, because I think a lot of people have all heard on the news the way the lumber has just gone crazy. When I bought my lumber package for this build, which consisted of all my wall framing, my roof framing, door window framing, my interior framing, I was at $4,378. Today, you're looking at $5,239. Really, when I look at that, that's about a 20 to 25% increase in cost. Not as bad as I thought it was gonna be, but I also know lumber has come back down. Now let's talk about steel, okay? Because steel, that is a different story. So right now, what we're looking at is I spent $6,243 on my steel package. So that does not include my interior steel, so that's all my exterior steel, my roof, my walls, my wainscot, my trims. All I know, and I did not do a piece-by-piece comparison because I didn't have all the trim numbers in front of me, but across the board, the cost of steel is about 50% higher. So we're looking at $12,000 roughly to get the same steel package today for the exterior of this building that we did in 2018. I think that's crazy. That's really the biggest cost in this building. Windows have been a pretty sticky point lately. Windows have been hard to come by. Back in the day, I think we were using a Crestline window. I spent $1,661 for 7 windows. That's about $237. Grills in the glass, insulated, low E, argon, all that good stuff. Today, if I were to buy those same windows, we're looking at $2,352. So once again, that's like a 40% increase if I'm not mistaken. 1661. It's like a 40% increase for the windows as well. So I think you're seeing a trend here as to what the pricing differences are. But let's keep going. Walk door. So my walk doors, I buy Plywood 92 series doors. These are going to be thermally broken jambs, which is the important thing, because with a metal frame door, you don't want that cold, transferring through to the inside and then causing condensation issues and having ice build up on your door, and then you can't open it. So we use a thermally broken jamb and slab for our door, which is the 92 series. Back in 2018, I could get those for $628. Today's about $1,000. So we're looking at about $1,000 per walk door. You're gonna be walking in and out of that door every day. Don't buy a cheap wood frame door. You might save $500, $600, but you're gonna be replacing it. It's gonna be garbage, and it's not gonna close as good as a steel door over time. You guys know we love using Versetta stone. We didn't need a lot on this. I think we had 24 pieces, which cost $748. Today's price, $918. So definitely an increase, not horrible. I don't know what that is exactly. That's it's like a 22% increase on the Versetta stone. Gutters, we were at $430 for our gutters. That included 2 5-inch troughs on each side. Nowadays, you're looking at $525. Not bad. That also includes the labor of my gutter guys. And let's talk about insulation. So my insulation, like I said, we use an R19 fiberglass bat in the wall and an R38 blown-in fiberglass in the ceiling. Back when I did that in 2018, we were at $1,770. Currently, my price would be around $2,200. So that's about a 25% increase on insulation. And then let's talk about plywood. So we did 3/4 plywood on the interior wall, kind of like my shed, where I went up 8 foot and then I transitioned to steel. Customers like that because it gives them a nice solid wall. They can hang things on, they can paint it. It doesn't, get dented and look as dirty as steel can over time. So that's the big reason we like to use it, but it is costly. Now, when I bought this plywood, it was $725, around 22 or 23 bucks a sheet. Now we're looking at 40 bucks a sheet. So not quite double, but very close. $1,250 is what you would be spending today on that plywood to go around the perimeter. And for the interior steel package, it's about double what it was. We spent about $2,040 for the liner walls, which is about 4 foot, and then the ceiling, and we are at $4,000 today if we were to buy it. So that kind of encompasses all of the building materials I bought. Now, things like fasteners, caulk, maybe tapes, I don't really have those because I usually just buy those things in bulk, and I just buy them as I need them. I just figured with the fasteners, if you gave yourself like a $500 allotment, you could get all your nails, your screws, your caulk, and your tapes to kind of cover this size of a build. But that leads us to the concrete. So I can help you with the concrete cost because at least I've done enough with contractors to know about what their square foot price is for a slab. And you're looking around today's price, you're looking in anywhere from $5 to $5.50 a square foot. Now, this is going to be very regionally based, so I don't know where you're going to be from when you're watching this, but once again, I don't do concrete work. This is what my contractors charge me or my clients, and this is what we're going off of. Back when I did this building, you were looking around $4, $4.25 per square foot for concrete, which was about $4,800. Now you'd be looking closer to $6,000 for this floor. This did have a radiant heat system in it. That is pretty costly. I don't have the price right in front of me. Okay, so that kind of wraps up all the costs that I had to incur in order to put this building up. Not my labor, and definitely not the concrete or, like I said, any of the mechanical work inside. Now, if I take this total, what I came up with was $23,014. That was in 2018. Now, if we were to do that job today and I would have to buy all this stuff, I would be looking at $35,340 just to get my materials. And in 2018, I bid that job for $36,000. So that is how I bid the job. A lot of times when I'm bidding a job on and looking at the labor, I look at a day's worth of work and say, put a cost on that. If you're watching this video as a contractor and saying, okay, Kyle, great, you gave me the material cost. How am I supposed to figure out how long it's going to take me and what I should charge? I can't help you with that. That's where experience comes into play. And I just told you I charge $13,000 in quote unquote, labor from my side, but really I don't pocket that money. That goes towards overhead for the business. It pays my my workers. At the time I had 3 guys. I think I had 3 guys on that job, so we got it done pretty darn quickly, but it increased my overhead because I had more payroll to make. Back to if you're watching this as a contractor and you're trying to figure out how to price a building or what something should cost, your labor should be determined on what your needs are financially, what your overhead costs are, and just in general, what do you want to make every day? Make an estimate as to how many days it's going to take you. If it takes you more, that's on you, and that's for you to learn for the next one. But the goal is always give yourself a little bit of room and figure in how much you need to make, and then that's what you bid. Unfortunately, things are just getting more expensive. I don't know that they're going to go down. Personally, I was quite surprised at this. I haven't gone back and looked at past jobs, what they cost and what they would cost today to determine where I should be pricing my job. So this has actually been a healthy exercise for me as a business owner to kind of reflect that I used to always think about, okay, I did that job last year. I remember it going smoothly and it cost this much money, and I can look at my books and say I spent this much on all my materials, and I can kind of say, hey, this is where I was, and I can learn from that and adjust the bid accordingly. But it's crazy to think that in 3 years of time, and we know we're going through this crazy period right now, but it's crazy to me to think that the cost of this building, if my numbers are correct, is almost 50% higher than it was just 3 years ago. That far exceeds the cost of inflation that we hear about. We are experiencing high levels of inflation. Cost of goods have gone up. Don't expect to get something today done for what your buddies or friends maybe did a couple years ago, because clearly, I mean, this is just straight off the books. You're going to be a lot more money. Hopefully this doesn't scare people or future clients to come and call me or call other contractors to do work, because I don't know that it's going down, guys. I don't know that this was helpful. I don't know that anybody out there is looking at this saying, I'm glad I just, spent the time to watch this. My goal is that I do read comments, I read the feedback, I hear what the people want, and they want to know how much it's going to cost. This was a building that I thought would be the most generic for somebody out there, the people that are going to build their own or live in an area that is going to restrict the size. Obviously there's people out there that want to build behemoth barn dominiums and, epic shops and whatever, but those numbers are few and far between. There's a lot more people out there that are willing and wanting to put up a 30 by 40. So I figured let's just talk about the prices of it, what it cost back then, and what it's going to cost today. Now, if you're a client or a potential client of mine and you're going to reach out to me about a 30 by 40 garage and you're going to say, Kyle, you just said it's going to be about, I don't know, under $50,000 for that 30 by 40. I'd like to think we can do it. But every situation is going to be unique. I would love to get feedback. If there's another way that you want this presented, if there's more information I'm missing, by all means, let me know down in the comments, and I'll do my best to think about that. But my goal is always to just see where people are really asking all the same questions and try to help somebody out. And it seems like the financial side of a post frame was the biggest. So there you go. Hopefully it helps somebody. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, guys. I appreciate you. I appreciate you hitting the thumbs up if this was a video that you did enjoy, you got something out of. And if you're looking for more and you want to see us build some buildings and you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Greatly appreciate it. And we'll catch you guys in the next video.